Right now, military assets are surging across the globe. We are seeing active carrier strike groups deploying from the waters of the Caribbean all the way into the Mediterranean and the Arabian Sea. In Eastern Europe, Russia has escalated its posture by moving active nuclear munitions directly to the Belarusian borders, backing up the deployment with 65,000 troops engaged in live drills. Looking at this map of the Strait of Hormuz, you can see the geographical bottleneck where the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps is asserting total economic control. They are currently forcing commercial vessels to pay a $2,000 toll just to safely navigate the passage. When you put these pieces together, a massive naval buildup, nuclear posturing in Europe, and a stranglehold on global shipping lanes, these isolated flashpoints are converging into a single, massive theater of war. But while public panic rises, a very different reality is playing out behind closed doors. A secret, backdoor diplomatic channel is actively forging a grand settlement between Washington and Tehran. The key players moving this paper aren't Western diplomats. High-level Pakistani officials, including military leadership, are quietly shuttling a draft agreement back and forth between the two capitals. This diagram illustrates the core leverage of the deal. On one side, Washington agrees to begin unlocking frozen Iranian capital, starting with a 25% release. In direct exchange, Tehran guarantees immediate maritime stability and the free flow of trade through the Gulf. Then, without warning, a massive swarm of mystery drone strikes hit the region. 3 drones targeted Saudi Arabia, while 6 others were fired at the United Arab Emirates, with one specifically striking the outer generators of the Baraka nuclear facility. The initial data signatures gathered from the wreckage pointed straight back to Iraq and Iran-backed proxy militias. Believing their allies were under direct attack, Washington readied its bombers for immediate retaliation. This sudden sabotage was perfectly timed. By forcing an American military response, the attack would effectively end the secret peace draft before anyone could sign it. The clock started ticking. American military forces were exactly 60 minutes away from launching a devastating retaliatory strike on Iranian soil. At the last possible second, Pakistani intelligence operatives intervened. They handed Washington a highly classified, contradictory set of satellite and signal data that told a completely different story. This map tracks the intercepted drone flight paths. The trajectory data mathematically proved the drones did not originate from Iranian territory or the axis of resistance. It was a textbook false flag. The signal nodes traced the sabotage directly back to Israeli intelligence hubs. By staging an attack on critical Gulf infrastructure and blaming Tehran, the orchestrators knew they could force the US into a hot, kinetic war. It was a strategic attempt to kill the US-Iran peace draft by triggering an irreversible escalation. Washington rapidly disseminated this intercepted intelligence to top military leadership across Riyadh, Abu Dhabi, and Qatar, exposing the entire operation to those most affected by the strikes. The result was immediate. With 60 minutes left on the clock, the American retaliatory strike on Iran was entirely aborted. Moments after the bombers were stood down, Donald Trump got on the phone with Benjamin Netanyahu. The severity of that phone call leaked almost immediately. Reporters briefed on the exchange stated that the furious reprimand metaphorically burned the hair off the Israeli leader. This intercepted operation brought a sudden halt to the military coordination between the two nations, as Washington chose to trust forensic intelligence over the claims of its regional ally. Following the call, Netanyahu pushed to dissolve his own ruling government. By forcing early elections, he is attempting to secure a fresh mandate to launch unilateral strikes against Iran, free from Washington's constraints. But the international blowback has been severe. French President Emmanuel Macron directly told Washington the escalation was a grave error, while Spain, Italy, and the Netherlands openly summoned Israeli ambassadors in protest. Even staunch U.S. allies are breaking ranks. The president of South Korea ordered his cabinet to review the possibility of enforcing international criminal court warrants against Israeli leadership, right within their own borders. The political and diplomatic shield that the collective West has reliably provided is showing significant cracks under the weight of these escalations. Middle East stability is now increasingly reliant on regional shadow brokers quietly moving paper to avoid a catastrophe, rather than traditional Western mandates. Iran knows its leverage. They still possess an untouched arsenal of advanced missiles, and their negotiating position is now insulated by the unified backing of both Russia and China. Despite the drones, the false flags, and the ticking clocks, the secret US-Iran draft agreement survived the weekend. It is currently sitting on the table, awaiting final signatures. With regional powers now holding the keys to global shipping and security, the success of this hidden settlement is the primary factor preventing a total collapse of international stability.